Hello and welcome to yet another Rings of Power news update. Today, we're going to talk about awards and how they are receiving zero. So, if I may direct your attention, please, to the Fellowship of Fans Twitter page, where hashtag The Rings of Power received zero Golden Globes nominations, which were announced today. The final award show left is the Emmys. Now, some of you might be saying, yeah, no shit, they're not going to win any awards. And I would be in that camp as well. Now, here's the thing that I'm actually surprised about is that Amazon has got more money than God, and yet they still couldn't find anyone to pay off to allow them at least into the nominations, which is just absolutely flabbergasting to me. See, as you can see, Best Television Series Drama, Better Call Saul, The Crown, House of the Dragon, Ozark, Severance. Best Actress in a TV Series, House of the Dragon, Ozark, The Crown, Alaska Daily, Euphoria, no Galadriel because Morphy Clark, she was about as emotive as a cardboard box on a rainy day. So there's that. And Best Actor in a Television Series, The Old Man, Jeff Bridges, Yellowstone, Andor. I haven't seen it. Better Call Saul, Severance. I haven't seen any of these shows. I will be watching House of the Dragon eventually. I have not yet watched it. And that's simply because I was burned so badly by the ending of Game of Thrones. I don't have the heart to actually watch House of the Dragon until the whole damn thing comes out and I know whether the ending is actually good or not. And if people give me a good review on the ending, then yeah, I'll watch it. So I've got a couple years left before I actually watch House of the Dragon, but from everything that I've heard so far, it's phenomenal. But are we surprised that the Lord of the Rings, Ixnay the Lord of the Rings, because it's not the Lord of the Rings, but are we surprised that the Rings of Power has not received at least a nomination for the Golden Globes Awards? No. Now, I was going to do reviews for each and every episode of the Rings of Power, and then I watched them, and they left me pretty speechless. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and I really had nothing to say. And to be quite honest with you, channels like Nerdrotic with the Friday Night Tights and Men of the West gave that show a very adequate reaming in a much more succinct way than I think that I probably could have. But needless to say, almost, and I say almost, as in 99% of the entire show was terrible. And that's really, if I were to review every single episode, that's pretty much all I would say, is that this was terrible, that was terrible, this was terrible, that was terrible. Oh, that looked pretty, but it was all CGI, but the rest of it is just terrible. So, I didn't even bother with it. But, I mean, again, are we surprised about this? Not really. Now, this is a bit of an older article, but from November 30th. From bounding into comics, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power completely falls off Nielsen charts just 2 weeks after the season finale. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power completely fell off Nielsen's top 10 charts just 2 weeks after the show's season finale premiered. The 8th and final episode of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Alloyed, terrible name, released on October 14th. Happy fucking birthday to me, right? The show ranked in 1.137 billion minutes and placed second on Nielsen's overall list behind Netflix's The Watcher. Now, the thing that gets me is that why are they doing minutes now? I don't understand why they're counting in minutes now. They can't, I guess maybe because watch parties and stuff might not be an accurate statistic to go by, or due to watch parties, it might not be accurate to judge how many people watched it based on the number of screens that actually turn it on. I don't know. Maybe they do it to count rewatches and stuff like that. But regardless, the series would completely fall off Nielsen's overall list a week after its season finale. However, it did appear still on appear. Oh, well, that's not my fault. Copy editor, dude. Let's go. It did still appear on Nielsen's original ranking. It placed 5th with a total of 570 million minutes viewed. Interestingly, it fell behind Netflix's Dahmer, which released all 10 of its episodes on September 21st in one go. Dahmer raked up 599 million minutes viewed according to Nielsen. 1 week later, and 2 weeks following the premiere of the season finale, The Lord of the Rings of Power fell off Nielsen's original chart. So it just completely fell off the charts. And it was beaten by Andor on Disney+. Now, I have not seen Andor, but if you've seen any of my videos on my channel, then you know how I feel about just all of these different installments for Marvel and Star Wars. I mean, they just decline in quality just ever increasingly. One is worse than the next. So it's surprising to me that people are still watching it, but I don't know. I guess people have a little bit more hope for the redemption of Star Wars than Lord of the Rings fans do for any Lord of the Rings property ever since Peter Jackson did the original trilogy. It was beat by the ever-declining Andor series, which saw its viewership numbers decline to 385 million. So yeah, that's even worse. Like, the precipitous drop in viewers over the course of 2 weeks is just incredible. It seems to me that everyone hated it. Dahmer continued to maintain an audience, albeit its viewership declined to 534 million minutes viewed. Business Insider report back in August from before the release of the first episodes of The Rings of Power claimed Amazon would sound the trumpets of victory around the show regardless of actual viewership. I mean, if you've got $1 billion invested in a show, wouldn't you? An alleged former senior Amazon Studios executive was cited in the report saying the reason why it's going to succeed is because the executives at Amazon need it to succeed. That doesn't make any sense. I need to pay off my house, but does that mean it's going to get paid off in 30 years? Sure. Shit just doesn't happen just based on need. And that's what, I think that is a big issue of what's going on in Hollywood now, is in the entertainment industry, is that you've got all of these formulaic script writers and showrunners that they do everything by a certain formula, and for so long it's all succeeded based solely on franchise. As I said before, look at Marvel, look at Star Wars, look at the DC stuff, even though the DC stuff is, hasn't been doing well for a long time, but it still makes money. Regardless, if it doesn't succeed, there's going to be a big question from Amazon's chief executive officer, Andy Jassy, and the board. This alleged executive added, if we can't take this piece of IP and make it successful, why is Amazon Studios even here? It has to succeed. There's no option. That right here. Why is Amazon Studios even here? That's a good question. And you know what? We have been telling you, people at Amazon, what you need to do with these properties in order to make them succeed. You stick to the book. You stick to the theme in the case that the source material isn't there, like the Second Age. You can do a Second Age story. Just look at Tolkien Untangled. YouTube channel has a series in which he kind of goes over the Second Age and how he would adapt the Second Age. And it is leaps and bounds better than Amazon could have ever come up with. And it sticks to what we know about the Second Age and adds little things here and there to tie it all together and put a nice little bow on it. That report appears to have panned out as Amazon Studios and Prime Video have attempted to tout the success of the show in a press release announcing the making of Rings of Power. Prime Video notes, The Lord of the Rings of Power has been an unprecedented global success, viewed by more than 100 million people worldwide, with more than 24 billion minutes streamed. They continue. The highly anticipated series attracted more than 25 million global viewers on its first day, marking the biggest premiere in the history of Prime Video, and also debuted as the #1 show on Nielsen's overall streaming chart in its opening weekend. Now, of course, it's going to draw a shitload of viewers. It's got the Lord of the Rings attached to it. But in what world is this anything that Tolkien ever would have written? This whole scene, I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, I don't recommend it. Skip it. Just fucking skip it. Don't worry about it. You're better off having not seen it, as I would have been having not seen it. Either way, it might have had large viewership numbers when it first released, but the declining numbers and the complete fall off just 2 weeks after its finale indicates people were unimpressed with what they saw and never came back to watch anymore. The fall-off also indicates that they aren't bringing any new viewers who might binge the show at once, which would boost the total viewing minutes, as seen in Dahmer still clinging to the top 10 original list despite releasing all episodes in September. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the gist of it. People don't care about it anymore. Had it been a timeless classic like the original trilogy, it would have won some awards. But I replied to the original tweet from the Fellowship of Fans saying, hopefully the showrunners, or more importantly Amazon, learn from this. Stick to the books. Stick to Tolkien's themes. Build Tolkien's Middle-earth and on screen, not what they want Middle-earth to be. Oh, you see, I misspelled Middle-earth. We need that Elon. We need that edit button. Their vision is not important. Tolkien's vision is. And that is why the original trilogy did so well and became an international success and won as many awards as it did. And now, of course, I can hear people saying, oh, they didn't have Tom Bombadil in it. They changed this. They changed that. Well, of course they did. And you can have your opinions about that. I have my own opinions about it. But the fact of the matter is that they still stuck to the themes that Tolkien laid out on the page for the most part. And that is hope, sacrifice, friendship, all of the above. You know, it tells a clear story of black and white, good and evil. People need that kind of thing. People need just an escapist outlet to know who are the good guys, who are the bad guys. Why do I like the good guys? Because they are good. Why do I hate the bad guys? Because they are bad. The nihilism that comes out of today's entertainment industry likes to make all of these relatable villains. And really, it just muddies the waters in that people don't know who to attach to. It makes heroes unlikable, and it makes villains relatable. Now, that has its place. You know, like if you look at the Joker in The Killing Joke, I don't know if you've seen The Killing Joke or read the comic, but basically the Joker's whole goal in that is to show Batman that everyone is just a step away from madness. And, you know, like I said, the relatable villains have their place in storytelling, but not everywhere. And that's basically what seems to be going on now, is that everyone's got some sort of moral relativism, and they can't depict. They don't know. It seems that they don't know what good and evil are. They can't define it. They can't define what is an evil entity. Sauron is, I mean, he's just misunderstood. The orcs are just misunderstood. They're not the embodiment of evil and corruption. They're just misunderstood. Sauron, actually, he's a man of the people. Or a Maiar of the people, I should say. Equal opportunity for the orcs, all about order and a lack of chaos. All about equality, equity, as it were. I would say that the orcs are pretty equitable under Sauron's rule. Now, one final thing I did want to add, just to kind of add to this, if you hadn't heard, Jeremy Mall, I want to say his name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, he's gone. He's out. And again, are we surprised? No. I mean, of all the characters in the show, he was the most likable. He was the most likable character in the entire show. So if you have good guys who are not relatable and you don't like them, Galadriel was an insufferable, horrible bitch who nobody liked. And this guy put on such a good performance, at least in comparison to the other actors in the show who were all dog shit, that he was the only one that myself and anybody that I talked to about it could even latch on to. So he's gone. We don't know who's replacing him yet. At this point, my advice to Amazon, shut it down. Fire everybody. If you must make 5 seasons of it, make the next 4 seasons from scratch. Get rid of everybody. You cannot continue this storyline with these characters and expect it to be rescued. You can't do it. I really don't think you can do it. In the span of 8 short episodes, and I use the term short loosely because they were all far too long. Any amount of this show is far too long. But in the span of 8 episodes, they are able to completely fuck a franchise beyond repair. So, scrap it. Don't worry about it. Get rid of it. Start over. Do what you got to do. Just don't do this. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. So, be good. Have a good day. And don't forget to pick up something heavy. Peace. Oh, before you go, one more thing I wanted to let you all know of. If you hadn't known already, I have joined forces with Geeks and Gamers Tabletop to join them on a Starfinder campaign. I am brand new to the Starfinder system, but it is a tabletop role-playing game, and we have started a new campaign as of last Thursday. We're going to be going on air on YouTube, on their YouTube channel, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so 7 p.m. Central, where I'm at. And it's going to be a good time. So I'll put a link down in the description of this video. And if you would, we're trying to get them to 10,000 subscribers so they can have like a little special alien-themed role-playing game. We want to get there before the end of the year. So hurry on over there and subscribe. Thanks again.